Sophisticated cloud, social and big data technologies, they may have just delivered Barack Obama the 2012 presidential election. Micro-targeting allowed the campaign to work out which types of people would be persuaded by which types of messages, who would donate online and how much they were likely to give. So with our election just months away, how likely are we to see the same kinds of tools at work here? Let's ask Cameron Wall from EYC3 Business Solutions, joins us from the Melbourne studio. Cameron, welcome to the program this afternoon. Let's talk Barack Obama's campaign first. Just how sophisticated was that? It seems to be the gold standard where these things are concerned.
Indeed it was, Nigel. I think if you look at that campaign, it was unprecedented in terms of its scale, in terms of the amount of money, people, IT hardware that was thrown at it. The amount of data that they crunched night after night was definitely unprecedented, and really was the start of having a data-driven campaign. If you consider some of the statistics, $100 million was poured into this campaign. They were using public source software to crunch the data, but in terms of the number of people, there was 300 people. They were crunching 66,000 simulations every night, and really everything that could be tracked was tracked. It was definitely unprecedented in terms of its scale and size.
So I want to touch on something you mentioned there, because it wasn't as if they necessarily had access to special proprietary data. They essentially were combining a whole lot of data from different sources and bringing it together in a meaningful way.
Indeed, and the number of sources was also, in terms of, we have this concept at the moment called big data, and they talk about volume, variety, and the velocity or the speed at which data comes in. In terms of this election, Obama's team ticked all three boxes. So in terms of the variety, there were all sorts of data that was used, to the point where even in one electorate they got their data from subscription television and utilised that to determine the sort of preferences that some voters had in order to tailor messages and really micro-target, as you said, that message to those people.
Yeah, they did use pay TV information quite extensively to build profiles on people, but they used a whole lot of other things to help their volunteers in the field, to also have a private bulletin board to work on messaging as well. So there was a range of software, but focusing on the data piece, is this software that is custom made for the political arena, or did they retool existing business software and adapt it for political use?
The software that they used was largely in the public domain. So there was database technology. There's products such as Hadoop, PostgreSQL. They also used statistical packages. There's one out there called R, and you or I can go online at the moment and download that free of charge. It's not the software necessarily that was the key factor here. It was the unprecedented scale, both in terms of the volumes, the velocity, but they built up 66,000 models that they would run every night to determine the outcomes of those electorates, to see where they should target their energy, target their resources, target their messages and target their dollars. And that was the key difference.
And I know a lot of commentators were saying that the Obama campaign was putting out what they thought were counterintuitive messages or the wrong messages, but it seems like they were extensively testing these behind the scenes before they did. Now I want to touch on the Australian market, if you like, or the election. We're probably not going to see things at the same scale here, but what are we likely to see in the months leading up to September in terms of the political parties here and their use of technology?
So the Liberal and Labor camps have been building their databases for over 20 years now. Not as sophisticated as the US version. They certainly have built up quite a data set on the voters out there, and especially the swinging voters, and what messages and in which electorates they are in. What I don't think we will see is the actual usage of social media to the degree with which we saw in the Obama campaign. I think we'll see the local parties, or the Labor and Liberal Party especially, using the information they've got to really target and hone their messages. And we may not, I think it will be done more subtly than what we saw in the US. In the US, it was really, as you said, micro-targeted down to the individual level. I think in Australia, we'll see these messages targeted, but we'll see them targeted to a broader level.
All right, Cameron, just without being partisan here, because we are a non-partisan channel on Sky Business, which party do you think has the best digital operation, Liberal or Labor? Who's ahead?
Based on, look, you can score that a number of ways. Julia Gillard currently has more likes on Facebook, so I don't know if you want to take that as a leading indicator.
Yeah, anecdotally,
I would say that they...
Anecdotally, I'd say Labor, definitely.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they've both got similar technology, similar data sets, built up with similar data sources over the years. Where this sort of technology helps, it won't make a landmark victory. It'll be marginal differences. It's those swinging voters that they want to try and encourage and target the messages to. So this technology isn't going to give you 20% extra polling. It's the margins. It's those additional extras that you want in those swinging seats.
Okay, Cameron, great insights there. I look forward to the election. Thanks for coming on today.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, up next, Adobe CEO on his company's cloud transformation and cosmetics by subscription. Stick around.